Hello, everyone. Welcome to Harmonic Heart. We're a music blog dedicated to showcasing musicians' stories and talent. I'm your host, Chris Millette. I'm very excited. Today we have Tulane Kachingwe, otherwise known as Quiet Child, on to share his musical journey and talk about his debut album, Cloud Nine. So, welcome, man.
Hey, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Chris, having me and everything, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you. Quiet Child is a singer and producer from Los Angeles. The younger brother of pop star recording artist Tinashe, Quiet Child has musicality in his blood. He produces and records each record himself using Ableton Live. Inspired by artists like Kid Cudi, K Tronada, and Drake, he's created a sound that's familiar yet futuristic. Over the past 2 years, he's released joint mixtapes including Lifestyle, Midnight EP, and Backyard Mixtape, which can all be found on all streaming platforms. He previously opened for Daniel Caesar at San Diego State University's Cal Coast Theater and frequently DJed bars and local shows while attending college. In 2019, Quiet Child toured with Tinashe during her time in Tokyo, Beijing, and Shanghai. In 2020, he released his self produced debut album as a solo artist, Cloud Nine. Yeah, so I'm excited to have you on and chop it up and get some behind the scenes and everything.
Of course, man. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I think interesting place to start would be what were some of your musical influences growing up in your household? Like what were your parents listening to?
Yeah, man. Of course, dude. My parents loved listening to like R&B, like
Mhm.
late '90s, '80s R&B. A lot of like the
Mm.
bars.
Oh,
Everything from
yes.
like Earth, Wind and Fire
Right.
to Joe. Like
Mm,
grew
mm,
up listening. Like Michael Jackson was probably like the number one person we listened to growing
yeah.
up. Like
Yeah.
nonstop
Mhm.
watching his music videos,
Yeah.
him and Janet Jackson, like just listening
Right.
to their projects,
Mm,
seeing them
mhm.
dance on stage just got us inspired to like be that like the best
Right.
at the craft, like
Mm, mm,
creating dance moves never seen before, or
mm.
like just hitting notes nobody's ever heard before. Like so,
Yeah.
a lot of those artists really got us into the groove of like
Mm,
some,
mm.
some really good, like inspiring melodies of like singing, dancing, performing in that sense too. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Just all that excellent soulful music and, going for, the heights like excellence. And yeah, I mean, listening to Cloud Nine, and you hitting those various melodies, man. So
Thank you.
yeah, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and then again, congrats on the Delilah video that just dropped.
Yes. Yes. Just
Yeah.
dropped that yesterday. So wanted to kind of, bring a new breath into the project, it being like a month and a half released. And so just wanted to emphasize that song, give it its own shine, give
Mm,
her
mhm,
her own moment.
mm,
Because
mm.
this song is really good and we wanted to make the video really good too. Um,
Right.
we couldn't make it a part of the whole film because we didn't have
Mm,
to film it in time, but we wanted
mm,
to
mm,
give it a step back and like release it when it was ready. So
mm.
it's perfect.
Nice. Yeah, it's dope, and you can tell that both of you have fun working together. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, man. Every time, every time.
And you mentioned just Michael Jackson and Janet, and I saw she mentioned like they were some of the inspiration for that video. So.
Yeah, bro. The Scream video um, was are like one of the original ideas we had for that. Like this,
Mm,
brother sister vibe, both matching, like
yeah.
black outfits, really just niche look.
Mm,
And us filling up the room with just our look and with the music. So
mm, mhm,
um, they're always going to be the top of the list for our musical inspirations, whether it
mm,
comes to their creative direction
mm,
or their just musicality, just
mhm,
their edginess in general. Like
mm.
it's a lot of that.
Man, the excellence.
Yeah,
Um,
man, for sure.
I watched your interview with your homies over at 24 Frames. So shout out
Yes.
to them.
Yeah, shout out the friends at 24 Frames for sure.
Mm. Yeah, that was a great interview. From there, I learned you went to San Diego State, where you started DJing and making beats in your dorm. So,
Yes.
yeah, can you tell us about that time in your life DJing and first starting to make music?
Dude, it was really fun. I mean, going into college, I always had like a goal of like I wanted to be like just like the DJ, like the guy who
Mm,
is always playing at the bars or the guy who's always playing at the parties.
mm,
And
mhm,
then from there, made my own beats just for fun, just out of like pure. this hobby, just wanted to get into it. Like sophomore, junior year, started to do it a lot more, make my
Mm,
own beats, to
mhm,
DJ at all these events. And then it came to a point where I just made my own music, started making songs that I sang on,
mm,
releasing it on SoundCloud, just kind of testing the waters since
mhm,
I felt like college was a really experimental time for me,
mhm,
just
mhm.
being away from family, just being on my own. So
Right.
um, it was fun, man. It was fun. Got to go to a lot of the coolest little venues in San Diego. You know, like
Mm, mm,
performing at anywhere from Flux to Firehouse to Griffin's. You know, all the
mm,
way to
mm,
McFadden's. Like a lot of
mm, mm,
different places in San Diego that
mm,
we were able to hit up. So very blessed about that. Very blessed about those opportunities. DJ Kava Lounge. A good amount. Cal Coast Open Air Theater.
mm, mm.
So it was a fun time in my life, just kind of getting to know what I can do on the musicality end of things, like as a DJ or as a beat maker. College was really an eye opening experience for me. It was really cool.
Mm. Yeah, on the 24 Frames interview, it was also dope to see just like the big crowds you're performing for as
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Yeah, man. This insane crowds. Like my senior year was able to perform for Daniel Caesar. I won
Mhm.
the Battle of the Bands
Oh,
contest.
wow. Congrats, man. Mm.
It was like it's one contest every year that the any student artist can pretty much perform,
Mhm.
and it's a battle against other artists, and the winner performs at the biggest concert of the year, and
Wow.
it's called the Green Fest, and it was always my
Mhm.
goal to perform at this. And my
Wow.
senior year, I won the contest,
Wow.
and I opened for Daniel Caesar and Cashmere Cat. So
Oh, snap.
um, that was easily the biggest like crowd I had as a quiet child artist.
Mhm.
Um, and then on top of that, just like going on tour with my sister,
Yeah.
being in front of thousands of people,
Well,
um,
mhm. Yeah, what
at
was that
her
like,
shows
man?
or at her
Yeah.
festivals.
Mm, mm,
It's overwhelming, but at the same time, like it feels right because they're all like expecting something out of you on stage.
mm,
So like
mm,
you're just in that element having to provide because like you kind of get lost, kind of like black out from that like fear
mm, mm.
because when I'm a concert goer, I'm expecting something from the person on stage, and like
Right.
you don't really think of it on the other end. And
Mhm.
so when I was on the other end, I was just like, you know what, I can't be up here picking my nose. I can't be up here like not saying anything, just yelling out gibberish stuff. I
Mm,
have to
mhm.
be cognizant of like
Mm.
what I'm saying, know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and like
Right.
I guess speak clearly so people can hear me in the back, So
Mm,
it was a lot
mhm.
of different small things I had to learn,
Mm.
performing in front of big crowds. But man, I can't wait to be able to do that again, for sure.
Right. Man, that's incredible. It sounds like you really were feeding off of the energy, of the audience.
Always, man,
Mm.
always. And it was like my job on that tour, on Tinashe's tour in Asia, to be the hype man. Like I came out halfway
Ah.
through the show and
Mm.
just DJ'd for like 15 minutes
Mm, mhm.
and just hyped the crowd up and like just
Hey.
played the bangers at the time,
Mm.
a couple
Ah,
classic joints, and then
nice.
the crowd was so energized that she came
Mm,
out and did like the last like 6 or 7 songs, and they were just like
man.
boom, 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 one by song.
Wow.
So definitely felt the energy of the crowd and brought it up, and
Mm,
so that's all. It's an unparalleled feeling, getting
mm,
that response from people going to see you perform. It's
mm.
it's pretty special.
Man, it sounds like, y'all had the perfect, alley-oop going.
Yeah, it was perfect, man. Honestly, got to do it
Um,
again.
yeah, what was your experience like balancing school and doing music like that? You're having such huge music experiences.
Dude, it was cool because like when I was able to go on tour,
Mhm,
it was at times where I was like on break, or I just had the opportunity where like I realized life is only going to give you a certain amount of opportunities.
mm,
Can't
mhm.
you have to really take advantage of those sometimes, like
Yes.
whether it mean missing some time or like sacrificing money or like
Mhm,
sacrificing certain things that are daily things that you can do on a daily basis. Like
mhm.
you can't take away opportunities. So like it's it's something that I definitely like take to heart. Like you got to just take advantage of what's given to you right in front of
Mm, that's inspiring. Yeah.
you.
You mentioned that you were on Logic and then you switched to Ableton. So what about Ableton took your production to the next level?
Dude, just like the simplicity of it, like the user ability
Hmm.
of Ableton really expanded my creativity. I
Mm,
learned just how to do a lot of like basic production things that I never really got into on Logic, like
mm,
basic things like EQ or
mm,
compression
mhm,
or just like panning,
mm,
stuff like that. Just like
mhm,
specific production things that are good to know, just producing beats.
mhm.
I learned all that in college, like at
Yeah.
at San Diego State, taking a
Mm,
class, taking a course.
mm, mm,
I didn't even know this course was available until I ran into a couple of really awesome people who were
mm,
in
mm,
this organization, Acid Music Group. They pointed me in the right direction that, hey, there's a class you can literally learn how to make music. Like
mm.
the homework every week was make a beat a week. And
Oh,
so it
okay.
was literally just like, yo, just get better at making music.
Mm,
And
mm.
had a couple friends in there, who had some, plugins with the Ableton.
Uh,
I gave them my computer 5 minutes later. They gave it to
mm.
me back. Ableton's on there.
Oh.
Um, Learned from Chris Warren, Dr. Chris Warren, and I just took it to the whole next level. Never looked back. I go on
Mm,
Logic sometimes and like I don't even know how to use it anymore, just because I've
yeah.
been like super deep into this other program. So
Mm, mhm.
it's been a blessing.
Yeah, that sounds like a great resource.
Hmm.
Um, how would you describe your production process?
I mean, it's pretty like spontaneous. It doesn't really like come super strictly. Like some days, I'll literally just be like sitting down and think of a melody, watching TV, and
Hmm.
then say in a voice memo real quick so I remember what it is,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then open the program and find like a keyboard and just write down
Mm,
that melody.
true.
Sometimes I will just be driving around and hear a song that I really like that inspires me, and like I'll go
Hmm.
home and kind of make a song that is on that same vibe.
Mm, hmm.
Sometimes I'll write lyrics, and then from the lyrics I'll go into Ableton and start making a beat from that. So it's
Mm,
kind of depends on, man. It's just all about what the feeling right then and there. Um,
right.
Fluctuates, dude. Definitely
Hmm.
fluctuates. So it's very easygoing. I don't really try to think too much about it. Sometimes I'll be with friends and we'll be just having a
Mm,
great time and start making a beat from us just hanging out.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes I like making beats strictly by myself. Um, Goes hand in hand. Like it kind
Yeah.
of kind of fluctuates.
Right. It varies. It flows. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
You previously put out collaborative projects. How'd you decide this was time for your debut solo album?
just a handful of things, man. Like moving back home with my parents, like being on my own
Hmm.
versus being like in college with around friends.
Hmm.
It's a different environment, maybe to kind of like focus on my own stuff for a
Hmm.
while. And
Yeah.
then the virus kind of hit, and then I was really home for a while, not really being in a relationship anymore, not seeing my friends a lot. I felt like this is the perfect time to really dive into give myself the time I needed.
Mm,
Because I can really, I had a lot of time to invest in myself the past year. And so
mhm,
I took advantage of that and thought this is the time. I want to really like take this seriously as an artist, have this be
mhm.
like my first official project,
Yeah.
and then just have the doors be open from there. Like
Mm,
just keep
mhm.
going, keep going, keep going. And so now
Right.
already working on project number two,
Hey.
hopefully releasing like next month, honestly, like
Mm. Oh,
maybe in
wow.
2 months. So um, I'm really excited for it, man. It just kind of was the perfect silver lining to let the floodgates open and really get on
Mm.
my own artistry stuff.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah, exactly as you're saying, just different elements in your life coming together. Yeah, Cloud Nine, it's a personal project, and each song is a vibe. And you've kind of already started talking about this. One thing I'm curious to hear from artists is their motivation to create and express. So, what would you say drives your creativity?
Dude, a handful of things, man. Like obviously, just like just romance is a big driver of like my emotional creativity. Like a lot of the songs on the project had to do with a past relationship and like getting out of it, being in it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then also just like my life at the time. I'll write just about what I'm doing with my family or my friends. Like I get a lot of motivation just from my friends and from the people who are around me.
Mm,
That's
mhm,
mainly what most of my motivation comes from. It's from my relationships, and so
mm,
that's where it really stems from.
mm.
A lot of the creative process of it really stems from that.
Man, that's meaningful. Yeah, when I was, listening to Cloud Nine, I was like, man, some of these sound like driving in LA at night. And Cloud Nine, also the cover has a picture, of your head in the clouds. And as I was listening to other songs, I felt like they were like earthy elements or like natural elements, like maybe with the bass, like some soil or earth, and then
Hmm.
like the sky at night, sky during the day, the moon. And then, even in the film, I saw you were, recording or filming in nature. So I was curious if there's like a relationship between the music and nature.
Oh, big time, man, big time.
Mm,
I'm a huge Earth guy. Like I really try to listen to the signs that Earth give me, whether like that would be when I was living at the beach. I would
mm,
go into the
mm,
ocean and just like take the energy it was giving me from the waves. Or I'm a huge moon guy as well. Like
mm,
whenever the moon
mm,
is full,
right.
um, I just try to take advantage of like the energy it's giving me.
Mm,
The
mhm,
sun, just like being able to be outside a lot has made me appreciate the earth a lot. And so
mm,
the elements of the album are very about that, about like the time of day it is,
mm,
like
mm,
early in the morning, kind of on a smooth joint, or like at night, like you said, driving in the car
mhm.
on like a ride the wave energy, just like
All right.
heavy
Mhm,
bass, you know, or
mm,
like
mhm,
you said, like or scared, where
mm,
I'm
mm,
literally like in a pond,
mm.
or like in a
All right.
river
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the middle of the
Mhm,
forest. And so
mhm,
I wanted to incorporate that outside concept and the earthy concept in the project, where it
mm,
feels like actual elements when you're listening to it or looking at the cover. It looks very, like you said, like grounded in a
mm,
sense. And so
mm,
that's what I really wanted from that, to be like super, like, during the day, at night, all types of just energy from the sun, from the moon.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, man, I appreciate that.
mm.
Appreciate that.
Man, sick. Cloud Nine flows well sonically and conceptually. What was your process of arranging the track list?
It honestly came pretty like that too was pretty spontaneous. I made a
Mm,
lot of different songs,
mhm,
and I just kind of organized it in a sense where I wanted it to start with, like, I'm a big like introduction to songs person, and like an
mm,
outro, so a lot of them
mhm,
will build up and kind of build down. That doesn't kind of
mm,
just start right away.
mm,
Most of them don't necessarily. So the first song kind of naturally was like the introduction song I wanted to do, and then a few of the songs I created back to back to back on the same Ableton project.
mm,
And
mm.
so they naturally flowed from song to song to song, because
Oh, hmm,
I made the beat like layering it over the next one. And so
mm,
um, if it could be a Scared to the Moon and then My Turn are all created in the same project. And so
mm,
those three all went back to back to back. And then I wanted to put the two Tinashe songs next to each other.
mm, mhm.
And so it kind of gave a nice little foundation right there. And then Thief ended up being this a perfect ending song, because it's a nice little smooth joint, and then it has a
Right.
breakdown at the end too.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
it came pretty naturally.
mm,
Came pretty naturally to me. Same with the title of it. This was like, I
mm,
let the music speak for itself, and then
mm,
eventually the
mm.
track list came, and the title
Alright.
came, and the cover came. So
I see. Yeah, do you wanna, tell us about the title, or do you want us to kinda have our own interpretation?
I mean, honestly, like I had all the songs finished, and the whole album was done. And then one of my friends just like texted me, he's like, "Yo, like Cloud 9," and I'm like,
Mm,
"That's perfect."
wow.
For
Yeah,
many
just
reasons, for the fact that
stamp it,
like
yeah.
there was 9 songs on the album.
Mm,
Um, the energy really felt like Cloud 9, like, happiness, kind of
mm.
blissfulness,
Right, yeah.
letting free at first,
Mm,
giving.
mhm.
Um, and then on top of that, like 9 was my favorite number too, so it was kind of
Oh.
perfect. It was kind of
Mm.
perfect. And then from there, like, yeah, the music was already finished, and so from
Oh.
there, I
Mm.
just kind of went and had like a cover photo shoot. That's
Uh-huh.
where I got the
Mm,
cover from it, and
mm, mm,
turned out to just hit perfectly.
mm. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the songs "To the Moon" and the Crave interlude have this concept of "take it to the moon," and I love that. What can you tell us about that concept?
Dude, I'm huge on that concept, man. I'm huge on just like manifestation and just like
Mm,
aiming for the stars, just
mm,
never
mhm,
stopping. Like the fact that you can really achieve anything you want if you really try to do it. And so
mm,
it's reassuring when
mm,
people like you or just like random people hit me up and just appreciate the music because it'll show that okay, I'm doing something right. Like I
mm,
had a goal to just like release music, and the fact that a few people are vibrating from it,
mhm.
that means I got to just keep going. Like there's
Uh,
no stop, there's no
yeah,
limit.
man.
And so like I said, like a moon watcher, I'm always just aiming for that. Like how can I just keep going, just keep
Mm,
going? Like,
mm,
there is no peak yet. Like there's
right.
no why not? The world is in our hands pretty much, and
Mhm,
so like I feel like if somebody wants to do something, they really can. And so the whole to the moon is like I'm gonna really just take everything up. Like if you want to come with
mm,
me, I will take you up to the moon. Like we'll there's no stopping anything. There's no limits to
mm.
this life thing. There's no limits.
Ooh, man, yeah, no, I really love that. That's, motivating and inspiring. Ooh, and you got me, ready to
Uh,
to go out and start running or something.
you know.
Right. Yeah, I also noticed, the project has clean mixes on it too, man. I don't know if you mixed it or
Like,
if you had, other people, yeah. So, um,
a lot of the songs I kind of put there, and they sounded great. But my man Ike Schultz really gave me the cleanup with the mixing. He
mm,
mixed the whole
mm,
thing,
mm,
made it sound as key as it could be, just on the professional
mm,
level. I wanted to not cut any corners. I'm not
mm,
the greatest at mastering, and he
mm, mhm.
definitely is. He has like the most credentials out of anybody I know. So
Oh, mm.
went to my good friend Ike Schultz, and he made it sound amazing.
Ah,
So
wow.
shout
Mm,
out to the man Ike Sauce. He's
okay.
guru.
Smooth. Man, so you're a quiet child, middle child. I'm a reserved, introverted, only child. I think
Okay,
it's
okay.
I think it's interesting. Your music is chill and vibey, but there's a confidence in your music, and you show in your videos, how you can get lit. So, tell me about that dichotomy.
Dude, I mean, being a middle child is an interesting place because like I gotta be responsible for the younger brother, but also
Mm,
look up to my older sister, who like obviously when I was growing up, got into a lot of things before I could at a young age, and so um, I've always loved like the turn up. I've always loved just energy, having fun, partying,
mm,
dancing,
mm,
not being afraid to be the only one on the dance floor, not being afraid to release anything you want, just being artistic. Like I'm all about the confidence of like you can do it. And
mm,
so I got that from my parents, from my older sister. I look
mm,
up
mm,
to all of them, and so also want to give that to my younger brother too. Look up to him
mm,
too, and also want
mm,
to have him look up to us. And so I
mm,
love the concept of I can be reserved for sure. I can be quiet in a sense
mm,
where
mm,
I don't have to really be going out a lot. I can
mm,
chill at
mm,
home for a while, or not really post a lot, not really say too much, not really cross the line if I don't have to.
mm,
But
mhm,
if I'm passionate about something, if I'm having a good time, like nothing's holding me back at all. I'm not shy.
mm,
I'm
mm.
not shy about anything. So
Man, nice. Yeah, I feel like for me being an only child, that helped me. Like if I want to do something, then I'm gonna just do it. Like I don't need to wait on, anybody, that type of thing.
yes,
Another thing I thought was interesting while listening to the project is that Tinashe fits right into the sound of your album. Like her presence didn't feel forced.
that's
Hmm.
always how it is, man. When we're working together, like it always feels pretty natural. I feel
Mm,
like growing up in the same household, listening to the same artists,
hmm,
we have the same sound in a sense where
mm, uh-huh,
I can compliment her on her songs when she asks me to come on.
mm, hmm,
She is just the perfect addition to any song I create too. And
uh,
so um, that definitely goes to show that we've grown up in a great place where we've taken in a lot of good music, the similar music, and so when we hop in the
mhm,
booth together, when we're in the creative process together, it's natural. It's not forced. It's not out of whack. It's just
mhm.
feels just right.
Right. Yeah, one reason I actually became a big fan of Tinashe is, the fact that she's also able to produce. Yeah, I'm curious how her career and journey has influenced you, or some takeaways that you've gotten from her.
I mean, everything, man. I look up to her as just a professional recording artist in itself. Like being able to get to that feat
Yeah.
is everything.
Hmm.
It's my dream to be able to get to that point that she's in. Like
Right.
I've gone to college and like I've done my thing to get to have a job and to be able to make money. But at the end of the day, she's living the dream that like, oh man, I strive to be as well.
Yeah.
So like I
Right.
look up to her for everything, like her production, her independence, her drive, her
Mhm.
attention to detail as an artist.
Okay.
Um, I look up to all that. It's important for me to have her as a role model in
Mhm.
my art because she can include me in on a lot of things that she's working on, and so it gives me a lot of insight into
Mhm.
what needs to be done to get to that level. So
Uh,
she is one of the biggest inspirations. Yeah,
mm, mm. I mean, from the outside looking, in as well, I just love how grounded and supportive your family is with each other. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, it's everything, man. Our family's everything to us. Like at the end of the day, like there's nobody's ever gonna have your back as much as your family, and so
Right.
we don't take it for granted
Hmm.
ever. And so like until we don't have each other, we're probably gonna be on this level. Like there's nothing that we can't accomplish together. And so
Hmm.
the tight knitness is key for all of us. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
appreciate everybody in my family. It's
Yeah.
it's it's key to have all of us together.
Mhm. And you also cite Kid Cudi, K Tronada, and Drake as major influences, and that absolutely comes through. Tell me about their impact on your sound.
Yeah, man. I mean, just growing up with a favorite artist, like you want to be them, and
Right.
so like I'll make songs that have a lot of Cudi influence on the hums or just like his melodic voice or K Tronada's beat making, futuristic house electronic vibes,
Hmm.
um, or just Drake's persona in a sense where he's confident to do anything he wants and can like, spit bars about anything. So
Hmm. Right.
um, those are just a few artists, many artists that I just take inspiration from on a daily
Hmm.
basis because it's one thing to be creative and original and then to look
Hmm.
up at like the people who are doing it the best. It's
Right.
good to be like, okay, what are they doing that I like so much? And like,
Mm-hmm. Right.
let me try to at least incorporate a little bit of that into what I'm doing.
Yeah. You also made the Cloud9 film to accompany the album. So you made the story and Emmett Lynch directed the film. So how'd you
Yes.
decide to make a film showcasing each song, and what was your experience creating the film?
I mean, it was a combination of like I brought a lot of friends over just to listen to the album at first, just to get the vibes of what's going on with what I'm making. And one of
Mhm.
my friends said, "Hey, like, you should actually just make a. I envision a film with this album. Like, it's just so
Mm,
visual when I'm listening to it that I can see it being an out like a film." And so from there, I actually am like, you
mhm,
know what, I'm gonna do it. I have time. I have a couple friends that I know who are filmmakers. I invited them all over, told them just like the basic concept of I wanted to make a film, going back to back to back. Ideas. It's crazy looking back on it now because the ideas seemed like big and ambitious, but at the time it
mm,
seemed realistic and achievable. And looking back on it now, we really did it. It was a
wow,
full 24-minute film,
right,
multiple different locations,
mhm,
different, crew setup, camera setup. So yeah, big thanks to Emmett for sure for sticking with me through it all. Like
mm,
if I wanted to bring it on, I wanted to bring him on so that it was like our project. It's something that we could do together for the future. Both of our first time making a feature short film. Like we actually
ah,
made a short film, and so
right,
it's on his portfolio forever.
mm,
This new music video is on his portfolio forever,
mm,
and so it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. So I want to keep incorporating these kind of ideas with film into music because both of us are creative in the sense where we want to keep going and we know that
mhm,
the sky's the limit. So
yeah.
can't wait to keep going, do more.
Man, we've covered, so many interesting things today. Is there anything else that you feel like sharing?
Hey, just look out for new music.
Mhm,
I'm really on this electronic wave, and so the
mm,
next
mm,
offering is going to be very on those lanes of like house electronic vibes, and so look out for that. January, February,
Hey,
2021.
sweet, that's coming soon. All right.
Yeah,
So
real soon.
yeah, man. Yeah, thank you so much, Quiet Child, for coming
Of
on to
course.
the show and sharing with us.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me, man. It's I appreciate the love and support, and this means everything. Appreciate it a lot.
Uh, mm, yeah, and I'm really grateful to have you on.
Awesome.
Um, everyone, please stream Cloud9, watch the Cloud9 film, and tell the people how they can support you and follow you.
Yeah. So on Instagram, it's tulani.qc, THULANI.QC. On Twitter, it's Kinkachings, KINGKACHINGS. And then everywhere on all streaming platforms is Quiet Child. Find me on Spotify, Apple, Tidal, SoundCloud, YouTube, Quiet Child. Look out for more to come. More to come.
Yes. All right, everybody, keep up with QC.